You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, we take a look at what the city of Pittsburgh did for its 4th of July celebration.
And Carthage first responders battle an afternoon house fire.
And we've still got that possibility of some strong, maybe severe thunderstorms as we head through our Wednesday. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday morning across the area. So we've had some thunderstorms through the area. Actually had a damage report in La Harpe, Kansas overnight of a tree down on a house. So, and damaging winds are going to be the main concern with these thunderstorms as we go through today. So we'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes. Mother Nature's fireworks today, but we had local fireworks last night.
And between the city's fireworks celebrations and residents shooting off fireworks, until midnight or so.
Yeah.
Quite a celebration this 4th of July. And Pittsburgh hosted a 4th of July celebration at Lincoln Park all day long.
And visitors had the chance to join a pickleball tournament, a baby contest, and even a fishing derby. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
Kinley Lake and her cousin woke up early not only to fish, but also to win the fishing derby on Pittsburgh's 4th of July celebration.
You can't go wrong with fishing at all. Yes, you might lose a fish or you might break your line, but it's all fun and games in the end.
And because of all the fun activities that the city of Pittsburgh offer in the park, some families even picked a shade, brought some chairs, tables, and a lot of food to celebrate 4th of July. Continuing her 45 years long family tradition of getting together to celebrate the 4th of July, Kelly Duffin and more than 50 family members gathered at the park.
So everybody brings covered dishes and we bring our chairs and somebody goes and picks up chicken. The kids like the kiddie land. All the adults, of course, love the car shows, and we have to go to the arts and crafts, priority one.
After 2 weeks decorating his car, Kevin Kenningham also chose to spend the 4th of July in the park, specifically at the car show.
I figured I'd just bring it to show it off, that it brings more awareness to our freedom and what it stands for. Visitors
also took some time to reflect on the meaning of the holiday.
It's grateful for our freedom and our happiness that everybody has an equal opportunity, and it's just a fun time.
People died for that right for us to celebrate, and I think everybody should celebrate and remember it.
We're thankful to have a country that we can live in and be free, and this is the main reason for the celebration.
In Pittsburgh, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Well, the evening brought even more attractions and a fireworks display that started at 10.
So certainly it was a great night to celebrate the 4th last night. Thankfully, our fireworks show for Mother Nature was holding off until overnight, and we're still dealing with that this morning. Now, here in our immediate area, a lot of the thunderstorm activity has died down. We've still got some heavy rain out in parts of southeast Kansas, even a few rumbles of thunder, but what we're keeping an eye on is what's out to the west. It's this big complex of thunderstorms that's developed over the last 2 or 3 hours across parts of Kansas. Now, it's been an interesting ride. It's been riding east. It's been also trying to ride southeast. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly what this does as it continues to move into our area. There have been some strong thunderstorms with this, with some gusty winds and small hail, but no severe weather with that activity, at least right now. But that threat is still there. So this is what we call round 2 of our thunderstorms. Here it is at about 10 o'clock. Right now, future track thinking some of the stronger storms will stay right along the Kansas-Oklahoma line and start shifting southeast. So again, we'll see what that does. By about noon, 1 o'clock, round 2 is out of here. And we'll get a pause. We could still see some isolated to scattered thunderstorms through the afternoon, and those could be strong, possibly severe. Then we'll see round 3 later tonight. Out to our west, here we are at 7. Here comes that 3rd round of showers and thunderstorms. And again, those could be strong, possibly severe. By about midnight, we've got a few of them. And then by about 3, 4 a.m., here comes round 4 of thunderstorm activity. So I know we need the rain. We just don't need the severe weather. But unfortunately, we don't get to pick how this plays out. These could be strong, possibly low-grade severe as we go into our Thursday morning across the area. And then they should be gone by about noon, 1 o'clock. Now, our severe threat today, tornado threat very low, which is great news at this point. No areas highlighted right now. We do have an elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma, and then all of us in that elevated wind risk, and that's really the primary concern with these thunderstorms through the day and into the evening hours is strong damaging wind gusts of 60, 70 miles an hour. Today, though, not our only severe threat. We go into tomorrow. Again, the first half of our Thursday could see some strong, possibly low-grade severe thunderstorms. Friday, we go back to a situation like today, scattered thunderstorms, but the ones we see Friday could be strong, possibly severe as well. So a lot to keep an eye on. We're getting a lot of much-needed rain. We're just having to deal with some severe weather to go with that. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, showing us cloudy skies out there, and we're seeing the same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh. And as we look at our camera at 7th and range line, those skies are dark out there with the clouds around the area. 70 in Joplin right now, dew point humidity both high, and that's going to stay that way. And because of that, those of us that warm up a little more could see heat index values pushing 100, maybe up to 105 today. So you got to be aware of that in between the storms. 67, Fort Scott, Iola, 70, Chanute, 69, Chatopa, 70, Miami, and 72 down in Neosho. We get our morning started again. Thunderstorm chances continue. We're looking to be low to mid 70s through the morning. And then our high has a caveat with it, as I was mentioning. Those of us that maybe get a pause in the rain a little earlier or a little longer could go into the low 90s. And that's where you've got the better chance of seeing those heat index values pushing 100. Some of us, though, may not make it out of the 80s today, depending on how long you're caught under the rain showers. We will still continue to see scattered thunderstorms through the afternoon, again into the evening. They pause. The third round gets here later this evening into the early overnight, and we'll go to the mid 70s, and then we'll see round 4 as we head into very early Thursday morning. Mid-80s for us Thursday, those thunderstorms Friday, mid-80s. Pop-up storm chances continue into next week, and temperatures begin to rise again as we go back into the low to mid-90s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. First responders battle an afternoon house fire in Carthage. On Tuesday, firefighters responded to the Breckenwood neighborhood of Carthage at just before 1:15 p.m. Upon arrival, authorities described the scene as fully involved, meaning it had spread to multiple rooms. The family had made it out safely out of the house and no firefighters were injured. Chief Ryan Huntley says spent fireworks had been placed in a trash can next to the structure. He said that area is where the fire originated. A crash in Berry County, Missouri sends one person to the hospital in serious condition. The crash happened July 4th around 7 p.m. 1 mile west of Golden, Missouri. 2012 Honda Civic skidded and traveled off the right side of the roadway and struck a 2014 Mazda 2. The Mazda then struck a pedestrian. The driver of the Mazda was airlifted to an area hospital. No word on the pedestrian. 3 people are arrested in connection with the burglary of a Lamar business. Police in Lamar were alerted to a couple of burglaries at a business, and in response, they stayed ready for another break-in, which happened early in the morning last Thursday. When officers reached the business, they noticed 2 people leaving the building with stolen property. Authorities say those 2 men were Derek Caton of Columbus and Frank Cheney of Pittsburgh. Caton and Cheney were arrested and charged with burglary. A third suspect was arrested in connection to the previous burglaries. The oldest living survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre is sharing her story. In a memoir entitled "Don't Bury My Story," Viola Fletcher writes about the 1921 tragedy. At 109 years old, Fletcher remembers when a white mob ran through Tulsa's Greenwood district, killing hundreds of people and destroying homes. Fletcher was only 7 when it happened. She says it was not something people talked about as she grew up. She believes you're never too old to tell your story. Up next, our good friend Emily Frankowski stops by to tell us all about what's happening through Connect to Culture.
And later, how morning after pills vending machines are gaining popularity on college campuses. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome back. We've got Emily Frankowski joining us this morning here from Connect to Culture, and we've got a lot going on this month in Joplin.
We do. It's summer fun time. We're trying to get outside, even though, Mother Nature today she's trying to spoil our plans. but we're not having it. So yeah, over at Connect Culture, we've been busy. You know, even last Saturday, July 1st, we had 2 major Grand Ole Opry members at the Cornell Complex, and performances don't stop. We just are continuing every Saturday in July. Connect Culture will have outdoor performances with our Jomo Jammin' Music Festival, which we're bringing back.
Now, do you have the flexibility if there is severe weather or something to move indoors?
Yes, we do, which is wonderful. With Daly and Vincent last weekend, that's exactly what we did. It was about 50%. Of course, every time we do move it inside, it seems like it won't rain. So just look to our performance schedule with KOAM's weather forecast, and you can get the best news on that. But we're really excited. We want to be outside. We want to kind of test out the Leggett and Platt Green, and no better way than the Jomo Jammin' Music Festival, which is made possible by Freeman Health System. They are such a generous sponsor of ours. But this music festival is really to celebrate local talent. So all of the artists that will be included in the festival either are from Joplin or have lived in Joplin and have kind of a relationship with Joplin, you might say.
Okay.
So every Saturday, like I said, 7 p.m. We'll have 2 different bands, and they are both kind of like complementary genres. So the first up, which is this Saturday, so you've got plans now. We've got rock with Granger and Blister Soul, 2 Joplin bands. And then the next Saturday, July 15th, we'll have Americana with Patty Steele and Dance Monkey Dance, which if you've never seen Doug of Dance Monkey Dance, it's pretty amazing. He's a one-man band and he plays all the instruments pretty much at the same time. So really fun. And then July 22nd, we've got Bluegrass with Route 3 and Borderline Bluegrass, 2 amazing groups that are just so much fun to watch. And then we're ending it July 29th with none other than jazz. And we're going to have Jomo Jazz and the Northwest Arkansas Jazz and More Orchestra, which is a big band. I think they have almost 18 members coming to play.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, all right, you know, to the south of the building, which is in the Leggett and Platt Green, our outdoor performance space. Only $10 entry per night, and children under 12 are free.
All right. Well, I mean, take your pick. There's 4 different genres there.
Yes, lots to do.
That's awesome. And plus, you've got a lot of camps going on, too.
Yes. In the arts and cultural, world of Joplin, it's just so busy right now. We're bustling with camps. So if I was just looking through our Connected Culture calendar, seeing all of these different camps from, Spiva Center for the Arts, also Joplin Little Theater, Karen's Dance Studio, I don't even know, the History Museum, everyone has something to offer. So if your kids don't have plans yet, we've got all of that information. You just go to our calendar and you search the category of camps and you can take a look at everything that's going on. And then a couple others that I wanted to kind of mention but didn't know if we'd have enough time to talk about them. Our Spiva's 13th annual Film Spiva is coming up, so all of you potential filmmakers, put that on your radar. That's going to be July 7th is when you go to the Cornell Complex and gather the information for it. And then even a turn of the century fashion show at Scottish Rite coming up on July 21st. So there's just tons of stuff going on.
Check them out on Facebook and their website to find more information. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. In Health Watch this morning, you may live much longer than you think. About a quarter of Americans underestimated the life expectancy of a 60-year-old, and nearly 30% reported not even knowing what it was. That's according to a multiple choice 2022 survey by the insurer TIAA. The head of the TIAA Institute says he's concerned that so many people are not knowledgeable about longevity and are not properly planning ahead for retirement. Some researchers say the greatest financial risk for senior citizens is outliving their savings, so it's important to plan ahead if you can. In our post-Roe world, colleges are now offering the morning after pill in vending machines. It's been over a year since the Supreme Court struck down constitutional protections for abortion in the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization decision. Currently, 14 states have enacted full or 6-week abortion bans, limiting people's abilities to end pregnancies. Now, over-the-counter purchase of the morning after pill, however, remains legal in every state. And several universities are providing easy, accessible emergency contraceptives on campuses through vending machines. So far, there are 39 universities offering these machines. That's according to the American Society for Emergency Contraception. The World Health Organization could soon list aspartame as a possible carcinogen, meaning it could cause cancer. Consumers, health experts, and business advisors say the possible update will cause mixed reactions. Kevin Cork takes a closer look at why it may take time for large food companies to start using alternative ingredients if they decide to make any changes after the WHO's announcement.
Before you reach for a nice cold drink this 4th of July, you may want to check the ingredients. The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer, or IARC, is expected to list aspartame, one of the world's most common artificial sweeteners, as a possible cancer-causing agent. The decision is set to go public July 14th, according to Reuters. Aspartame is used in many diet sodas, chewing gum, and a variety of other food products, usually marketed as sugar-free.
It's convenient for companies to kind of construct what we call a health halo around some of these products.
IARC officials have reviewed available evidence to determine if aspartame can cause cancer. The WHO's expert committee on food additives will need to decide just how much aspartame a person can safely consume.
That's going to make me maybe want to think about changing to like flavored sparkling water.
But while the expected update could cause consumers to make changes, business experts say large food companies will face real challenges in updating recipes.
You can't just say, hey, we're going to replace one sweetener with another. They've tried this in different forms and fashions over the years and different marketing campaigns that drive that. But, taste is what drives the majority of the sales with one manufacturer over another.
Aspartame has been listed as safe for consumption since 1981.
We've still got those scattered thunderstorms across the area, so let's skip ahead to the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see where the rain's beginning to pick up in parts of Elk County out there, and we've got a few more lightning strikes, so a little bit of heavier rain, lighter rain over parts of southeast Kansas. We're still continuing to watch, and let me adjust this here, this batch of showers and thunderstorms. So it was moving east, then it began to turn southeast. Now we've got development ahead of it, and right along this line just west of Ponca City, it's beginning to force this line back east-northeast. So again, it's something we're going to watch very closely. There's no severe weather with that. Let me rephrase, but they are strong with some small hail and some strong wind gusts out there, and they'll continue to move into our area. This is what Future Track's thinking as we go through the rest of the morning. That batch will roll on through, and by about noon, 1 o'clock, it's out of here. And again, that's round 2 of 4 different rounds of thunderstorms today, and they could be strong, possibly severe. A few scattered storms possible this afternoon, and then another batch of slightly more organized activity that could be strong, possibly severe, rolls in as we go late into this evening, and then overnight, see that brief pause, and then here we go early tomorrow morning. Here's round 4 of additional showers and thunderstorms, and some of these through our Thursday could be strong, low-grade severe, but as you can see as we get closer to the noon hour, they do begin to die on out. A quick look at our severe risk. Tornado threat very low. We don't have any highlighted areas. Still have that elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and an elevated wind risk for today with winds possibly pushing 60-70 miles an hour with some of these thunderstorms. We'll have another complete look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
It's time for another Wildcat Wednesday. We've got Holly Miner in studio this morning, and we're talking grocery planning. How to become a better shopper.
Yes. So what we would encourage people to do is to plan for a whole week. So that sounds kind of daunting when you think about it, but plan out for a whole week. You're making one trip to the grocery store, so you're saving time and money by doing that one time, and then go home and have all the food that you need for the week. So how do we do that? That's a great thing to think about. So plan for the week. Think about all the foods that you're going to have. If you have a dish that uses half of an item, then think of another dish that will use the other half of that. So if you have a pepper and you're using half a pepper, maybe you're making sloppy joes and you put some pepper in that sloppy joe, then maybe the next dish might be fajitas or something like that. We're going to use that extra food up. So you're eliminating waste as well, which is going to save you money in the long run. And then we want to think about our grocery store that we go to. Are there sales on? We can look at the shopper, the flyers that they have. A lot of people are going online and looking at things now, so look at those things.
Plan your meals based on what meats are on sale or
yes, exactly.
seasons.
Yes, and seasonal food as well. So produce is a really good one for seasonal food. You can buy that on sale in the summertime, and you can can it, and we have canning classes coming up, so you can learn how to do that. But canning the food, or even buying it frozen, sometimes is a little less expensive than buying a food out of season. So there are those options as well to be able to get your fruits and vegetables in. So we think about that.
What about when you get to the store and you see a sale or something that wasn't on your list, or something catches your eye? Should you avoid it or make adjustments on the fly?
I would make adjustments on the fly. If it's something that you're going to use in the future and you can use it in the next week's menu, then I would go ahead and purchase it while it's on sale. I don't think I would stock up and buy 10 of something, because depending on what it is, it might not be something that you would use right away. We want to make sure that we're using our canned goods if we buy a canned good within a year. And of course, fresh produce and meats and those kinds of things need to be used within a certain time period so that they are still at their peak nutritional value.
Okay. If you had one more specific tip to give to people, what would it be?
So when you go grocery shopping, make sure that you eat before you go. Ooh. Have your list with you. If you can go by yourself at all, that will save some of those impulse buying that you might have when you have someone else with you, whether that be children or a spouse or a significant other person.
Very true.
And then just making sure that if you're coupon shopping or using sales, that you get those sales at the end when you're checking out.
All right. Right. Well, Holly, thank you so much for coming on. And you can find all of these tips online on our website later this morning, KOAMnewsnow.com. Just go to our morning show page. We'll be right back.
Most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It is currently 7:31. Evergy customers in Kansas could soon feel a rate increase. If approved, the new rates would likely take effect in December of 2023. For EKC residential customers, the average monthly increase would be $14.24, while EKM residential customers would experience an average monthly increase of $3.47. The Kansas Corporation Commission has scheduled 3 public hearings for customers to learn more, and those hearings will take place July 11th in Topeka, July 13th in Overland Park, and July 27th in Wichita. Participants can attend in person or virtually via Zoom.
We've still got thunderstorm chances across the area. Just looking at some of the latest reports here out in Sedgwick and Butler County, just to our west, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain out there. So this is bringing much needed rainfall to the area. You can see on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, getting some heavier rain now in Elk County, starting to move into Chautauqua County, some lightning out there. We've got these thunderstorms out to the west. They were trying to push back to the northeast, but this line is really beginning to take a more southeasterly turn. So we'll just have to see what it does. It's still a bit on the strong side with some gusty winds and small hail, but no severe weather alerts at this point. And you can see how it's all kind of come together out there. If it continues even just slightly easterly, this is expected to be our round 2, which will roll through the morning hours, and it'll be out of here by about noon, 1 o'clock. And then we'll be left with the possibility of a few scattered thunderstorms through the day, and these could be strong, possibly severe, before round 3 moves in. Starting around 7 o'clock this evening, we'll see another batch of showers and thunderstorms. These could be strong, possibly severe across the area. That takes a brief break, and then about 4 a.m. we see another big batch of showers and thunderstorms. These could be strong, maybe low-grade severe as they roll through for the first half of our Thursday, but then they start to die out as we get closer to about the noon hour. Our severe threat today, we've got a very low tornado risk, no areas highlighted, which is good. Still have that elevated hail risk for parts of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and an elevated wind risk for all of us through today. And damaging winds is the primary concern with these thunderstorms, as they could be 60, 70 miles an hour. We've got that that low wind risk for the first half of our Thursday with those morning storms we just talked about. And then we have another elevated risk with some scattered storms Friday that could be strong, possibly severe. Quick look at the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. We're looking good so far. And from the KDOT camera at East 520th and 69, you're starting to see a little more sunshine. For today, some of us could make it into the low 90s. We could see heat index values pushing 100 out there with the humidity from the shower activity. We'll get those storms. Some of us, though, may not make it out of the 80s. We'll go mid-80s tomorrow with those morning storms. Scattered storms again Friday, mid-80s. Pop-up thunderstorm chances continue as we head through the weekend and the start of next week. Unfortunately, temperatures start to climb back to low to mid-90s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Carl Junction started its July 4th celebrations yesterday morning. The city held its annual Independence Day parade. A number of groups made their way down Main Street. Organizers say the tradition is one of the favorite parts of the July 4th holiday.
We love to put on this parade. We love to honor our veterans and our nation and just get our community together for some fun, get the kids excited, just a big community event.
If folks were looking for fireworks in Carl Junction last night, Briarbrook Golf Course put on a big display. It was slated to start about 9:45. The Red, White, and Boom community celebration happened yesterday in Carthage. It was at Municipal Park in Carthage. Folks enjoyed a free watermelon feed, Freedom Foam Pit, Ninja Course, and much more. Music started later in the evening, and the event continued until 10 p.m.
One, it brings families in, it creates team building for different organizations that can work with us. It just is simply one area that is just pure kids fun.
Red, White, and Boom had something for everyone, including a fireworks show. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, Christy LaTurner and Molly House are in studio to tell us all about polar bear IV bags.
And we've still got those thunderstorm chances as we just talked about. We'll have more on your forecast a little later on the KOAM Morning News. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We've got Molly House and Christy LaTurner, joining us in studio, and they're going to tell us all about why you need to be in Galena this weekend. Ladies, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. So you got something very special you've been working on, and you're looking for another one of these. So what are you doing?
We are raising $20,000 for the next creation of the Mediteddy, and these special bears cover the IV bags at all of our local hospitals throughout the entire Midwest. We are talking from Kansas City all the way down to Oklahoma City, all the way out to Independence, Kansas. I mean, the entire Midwest. For all of our 4 states, they're running in ambulances, airplanes, helicopters. So the next creation of it will be for the polar bear, which covers the IV bags and the antibiotic bags. So it will be a smaller version of this. But we want to be sure and present you with our certificate.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thanking you guys for all of your support through all of our Mediteddy events. Molly hand wrote those, as you can tell. So
it is wonderful. Well, thank you very much. This is what
extra love when we do it all by hand.
It is. So. Well, thank you guys so much for that, and thank you all for what you're doing here, because this is very important. What exactly do these do? How do they help with folks in the hospital, with kids in the hospital?
They help lessen the anxiety of medical treatment, and let me clarify, they don't help just with children, because they have started using them in the emergency room, in surgical care, in transportation anxiety. So they have really gone above beyond just helping in the children's department. But they cover the IV bag just like this. Well, here, let's use the hard plastic ones stay with the hospital, and they literally just cap right behind it. And then this is a dry erase board here where they can draw on it. Okay. So like whenever they've got to get in the Children's Mercy helicopter and the kids can't fly with their parents, they get to draw on the teddy bear for the flight and play with it. And that really just they don't even care that mom and dad didn't get on the plane with them. And they're playing with the teddy bear the whole entire time. And it really helps a lot.
Well, we're almost out of time, so real quick, what's going on in Galena? What do people need to know?
We have the Neon Truck Club is coming out, and they are lighting up our whole entire Main Street, which is absolutely exciting. The Chiefs have sent down a Super Bowl picture that we can sell chances on to help raise the money. We have the Galena Masonic Lodge and Shriners are serving food. We have so many buildings that are open that even if there's a little bit of rain, you can enjoy any of our buildings that will be open, and we will have plenty of cover.
All right. Well, Liddy, thanks so much for coming in this morning. Of course, if you missed out on any of that, don't worry. We'll have it up on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is now 7:43 on this Wednesday morning. We've still got some showers out in southeast Kansas, a little heavier rain back in Elk and Chautauqua County out there. We got this batch of thunderstorms out to the west. Was trying to move easterly. It's starting to turn a little more southeasterly, so we'll see exactly what it does over the next couple of hours. But one way or the other, we are not done with showers and thunderstorms today. So still expecting that second round to still try and clip us a little bit and move on through about noon, 1 o'clock. We'll have a pause in organized activity, but could still see some isolated to scattered thunderstorms across the area this afternoon. Those could be strong, possibly severe. Then we'll see a third round of showers and thunderstorms later this evening and into the overnight hours. And these again could be strong, possibly severe. There's a brief break there before a fourth round develops, say around 4 a.m. And this will be a lot more organized, a bit more widespread. These could be strong, possibly low-grade severe. And these are going to persist with us through the first half of our Thursday before we get into the afternoon hours and they begin to clear out. So as for today's severe threat, we have a very low tornado risk. No areas highlighted, so that's great. Still have that elevated hail risk for parts of Kansas and Oklahoma, and then everybody in that elevated wind risk out there with the possibility of strong damaging winds, 60, 70 miles an hour. Have that low wind risk continuing as we head into tomorrow, and then we have an elevated risk as we head into our Friday for additional strong, possibly severe thunderstorms. And as we take a look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline, you can see we've got those cloudy skies out there. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, trying to get a little sunshine. We'll have another look at your forecast in a few more moments, but first we're going to send it over to Tanya Bach with Consumer Watch.
Twitter users can say goodbye to TweetDeck unless they're paying for that blue check. The company announced starting next month, only verified users will be able to access TweetDeck. That's a tool that allows scheduling of tweets and the ability to track different feeds. It's primarily used by businesses, media companies, and marketers. Twitter owner Elon Musk has made many changes to the social media platform over the past several months in an effort to add revenue streams. Well, National Geographic, the iconic yellow-framed magazine that has chronicled the natural world for more than 100 years, has laid off its last staff writers. Layoffs were first announced in April as part of a wave of cuts by parent company Disney. Former staffers said most National Geographic staffers were told their positions would be eliminated in 2 months. Multiple departing staffers said the last remaining staff writers were let go this week. And there's been talk recently about UFC President Dana White coordinating a possible cage match between Twitter owner Elon Musk and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg. But the next chapter in the rivalry between the two tech giants may play out sooner in cyberspace than in the cage. Zuckerberg's Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, is teasing a new app to challenge Twitter with a space for real-time conversations online. It's called Threads and appears to have many similarities to Twitter. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Swifties in the Kansas City area are counting down the days until her Eras tour comes to the city later this week. One local farmer is welcoming the singer in a very special way and with a message you can only see from the skies above. Matt Evans gives us a preview.
Last week, it was a combine harvesting wheat in this Ray County field. hand today, it's Rob Stouffer driving around his Bobcat,
We're trying to get this all created in one day.
finding a way to blend art and science.
I've been doing this for 23 years, and there is a level of craftsmanship.
It also takes a team watching from the skies.
I think you can go farther forward.
They were the ones that convinced Rob to take on this project in the first place.
The team kind of came up with this concept probably about 6 weeks ago. I said, no, I don't want to do this, and here we are.
Because when it's Taylor Swift coming to town, there's no choice. You have to roll out more than a welcome mat.
So we kind of think this is the quintessential welcome to the Midwest and to the heartland.
By this afternoon, he'd already etched KC welcomes Taylor into the ground and is now working on her portrait until it eventually looks like this.
We're just here to celebrate with the city and with the event. It really is Taylor Swift coming to town. It is a phenomenon, and we're just one play small part of it.
That's pretty darn cool.
Interesting.
All right, well, Rob does hope that Taylor Swift herself sees the project when it's all done.
Swift will be taking the stage at Arrowhead Stadium on July 7th and the 8th as part of her Eras tour. So very, very unique project out there. And we've got a lot of weather to talk about. We haven't had a chance to get through the rest of the forecast. So right now in Joplin, we're going to take a look at the current conditions. We've got those cloudy skies sitting at 70. Dew point humidity are high. And some of us, if we warm up, could see heat index values close to 100. We got 68 Iola, 70 in Chanute, 72 Chitopa, 71 Miami, and 70 Neosho in Carthage. And as we mentioned, as we get our morning started, we've still got those thunderstorm chances out there. We're going to hover right around the low to mid 70s. We could see some strong, possibly severe thunderstorms through the morning. As we head into the afternoon, scattered thunderstorms, and again, a couple of those could be strong, possibly severe, with some hail and damaging winds as the primary threat. Now, the caveat with this, some of us, depending on how much clearing we see and how dry you stay for how long, could make it into the low 90s. Others may not make it out of the 80s today with our highs, but we do have that. We'll take another look at your forecast and our additional storm chances this week when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. On Tuesday, firefighters responded to the Breckenwood neighborhood of Carthage just before 1:15 p.m. Family had made it safely out of the house and no firefighters were injured. Chief Ryan Huntley says spent fireworks had been placed in a trash can next to the structure. He said that area is where the fire originated. A crash in Berry County, Missouri sends one person to the hospital in serious condition. The crash happened July 4th around 7 p.m. 1 mile west of Golden, Missouri. 2012 Honda Civic skidded and traveled off the right side of the roadway and struck a 2014 Mazda 2. The Mazda then struck a pedestrian. The driver of the Mazda was airlifted to an area hospital. No word on the pedestrian. Evergy looks to increase electric rates. The company filed an application with the Kansas Corporation Commission in requesting the increase for both Evergy Kansas Central and Evergy Kansas Metro. Now, Evergy Kansas Central includes Pittsburgh, Parsons, Fort Scott, and Independence. If approved, residential customers in those cities could see an average monthly increase of more than $14. And police in Lamar respond to a couple of burglaries at a business, and in response, they stayed ready for another break-in, which happened early last Thursday. When officers reached the business, they noticed two people leaving the building with stolen property. Authorities say those two men were Derek Caton of Columbus and Frank Cheney of Pittsburgh. Caton and Cheney were arrested and charged with burglary.
We've still got the possibility of scattered strong to severe thunderstorms through the morning, afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. Some of us are going to make it into the low 90s today. Could see heat index values close to 100. Some of us may not make it out of the 80s. It'll depend on how much clearing and how long you stay dry as we head into the afternoon. We go through the evening, again, a brief pause. More storms overnight, mid-70s. We could see some strong, low-grade severe thunderstorms in the first half of our Thursday, going mid-80s. Mid-80s again Friday, more scattered storms. Those again could be strong, possibly severe. Pop-up storm chances continue through the beginning of next week, and our temperatures begin to increase as well as we return to the low to mid-90s.
Well, a foal from a critically endangered species of horse appears to be thriving after it was born earlier in June at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park in California.
Now, the youngster is a Zerwalski horse, a critically endangered species that has survived for the last 40 years almost entirely in zoos around the world. The foal was born to Mother Nikki and Father Ziggy through a breeding program to ensure genetic diversity.
The zoo says efforts are underway to restore the species to its native habitat in the grasslands of China and Mongolia.
All right, so hey, they're keeping it going, and with these endangered species, we got to do what we can to keep them around as well. So.
I know they've been doing some genetic cloning with some of them to try to reproduce them.
Yeah.
So this one I think was actually born.
Yeah, it was born
in the wild,
the way it was supposed to be.
Setting.
So yeah.
So that's really cool.
Well, we've still got those strong to severe thunderstorm chances through the morning, afternoon, and evening. So we'll be here keeping an eye on those for you, and of course we'll be back with the latest news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.